And he was the greatest, they say, orator. And he reportedly could hold an outdoor audience, including children, spellbound for 2 hours. You could hear a pin drop. And
he was a storyteller. He was an author.
An orator. This oratory, you know, and related to the principles of the revolution, the biblical principles for joining the fight to rebel against, to sever the ties. So pre-revolution. Time place of history is the money, and that's represented by none other than our old friend John Hancock that we saw his bust in the Capitol. Remember the guy that signed his name real big? So he was one of the signers, and they pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor. For him, it was a fortune, and he, along with a guy named Robert Morris out of Pennsylvania, single-handedly financed the revolution until the last couple of years when the French finally chipped in. But he was a strong Christian, but he was a little quirky. He had a wardrobe that whenever he would travel, he'd have a separate coach just for his wardrobe, and he always wore the frills. You know, he was when at the Boston Tea Party, this is again anecdotal, but that was when the colonists dressed up as Indians, buckskins, and dumped the tea into the harbor right here. Actually, when Paul tells the story, it wasn't what you would think a typical revolution. They were actually following the letter of the law. The ship had been there the right amount of days, unclaimed, and it was a legal act for them to do that.
So Paul's writing a book.
Mouth, the money, and the messenger.
Paul.
None other than our old friend Paul Revere, who was the coppersmith that did the dome on the Capitol. Come, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere, and famous for. So when the British started to move out towards Lexington and Concord, they were ready for it, and he saddled up with another guy named William Dawes, and they went different routes all the way along, all the way out to, it's probably that way, I'm a little confused, but to Lexington and Concord to warn the colonists that the British would come, because in Concord they have a stockpile of weapons. When they got to Lexington, there's Lexington Green there. If we had time, we'd go out there, but that's where you probably heard the expression, the shots fired, heard round the world. Did you ever hear that expression? That was at Lexington when the first shots of the revolution were fired. But he went off warning, the British are coming, all the way out there and back. But he actually got arrested. They caught him. And
he lived a long life for those days, eh?
Yeah.
In the 80 years.
Yeah.
Hey?
So when they caught him, he feigned insanity. He started drooling and stuff, and my guess
got that
is,
from David.
Yeah, that's right. And guess what? They let him go.
Wow.
So he actually did that twice in his career, and they let him go both times. The fourth M is the message, epitomized by Samuel Adams. And he was a man that had many children. He was poor, but he gave everything for the cause of the revolution. He started what were called committees of correspondence, and he would write and communicate with the committees, with the people in all the different colonies